What's good? What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Humble Warrior back at you with another video. I guess you could say I've actually been watching some of the old videos and watching some of the takes on Undisputed and then on First Take. I just finished watching the when Shannon went off on his Broncos about the 70-point explosion the Dolphins had on them and how he reacted to that. I heard out of his own mouth Stephen A say that Tyreek Hill is unguardable. He's the most dynamic wide receiver in the NFL at that time. That's what he proclaimed him as. Of course, he flipped the script with A.J. Brown now after the Eagles beat the Dolphins. They did not dominate the Dolphins, they beat them, 31-17. But I digressed a little bit. It's not about Tyreek or the Dolphins in general. It's really about Tua. I have never, being on Twitter now, I'm able to read some of the things being said about the kid, and it's like I've come to the conclusion he's not going to get the flowers he's deserving to. He's actually going out the league. Once he's gone, and once Miami Dolphin fans sit back and see what he actually did, if you go back and look at his rookie year, there's a game in mind that people should go back and look at: the Arizona Cardinals, who at the time had way more talent on their roster than the Miami Dolphins had in the whole building. And Tua with a bunch of scrap receivers: Lynn Bowden Jr., Corey Grant Sr., Ahmed, Myles Gaskin, Mike Gronkowski. Who else was out there? Preston Williams, and I think Devontae Parker played that day. But with all those guys, he went to Arizona and beat Kyler Murray in a shootout in which the Miami Dolphins won 34-31, and Tua basically led them down to seal the game to win it. Now, he also, his sophomore year, I gotta remember the game. His sophomore campaign with Jalen Waddle, they beat the Carolina Panthers. They went 9-8 that year. I remember he got injured, but I'm trying to think about the signature game that he had, in which they was able to win. I really can't think. That was 2021, so it's really hard to think about that season. I know Waddle went for 1,000 yards on 100 carries. 100 catches. That was the year Tua went for 2,600. He missed time because he got injured. I think he hurt. At first it was his finger, and then he hurt something else, and his ribs. His ribs got broken basically, and he missed some games. And it was during that the Buffalo Bills game where he got a blindside hit week 4, and he was out for a minute. He came back. They beat the Panthers. They beat a few more teams, and I can't remember this. I gotta look at the signature game he had. But his third year in the league, going against the Baltimore Ravens, he had that 28-point fourth-quarter explosion. Then he took down a pretty good. Well, no, it wasn't good. He took down a really, really good offensive team in Detroit, in which they was up 14 on Miami before they knew it, and then Tua engineered a comeback and actually led Miami to beat them. He beat Chicago on the road, which they were trash, but they did put up a dog fight with Miami. They went score for score until the end when they finally pulled away. He also managed to, he beat the Jets, he beat the Patriots twice, and then he got injured because after the Green Bay game, it was up. He got hurt. He came back in instead of staying out. He came back in, threw 3 picks, and that sealed the deal for Green Bay. After that, he missed the Patriots game and the Jets game, in which the Dolphins won one out of 2 to make the playoffs. But if you look at production every year, he went from 18 to 26 to 35. He's already at 2,000 yards this year, and it's just week 7 coming up now. He's at 2,000 yards in 6 games. He's on pace for 5,500 yards. At the rate he's going to get that number. And people can't accept it. I've heard people still call him noodle arm. I've heard people say, especially Skip Bayless, he throws, what do you say? He throws floaties. I'm like, what the hell is a floaty? Or he throws puff balls. That's what he said. He throws puff balls. I'm still trying to figure out what is a puff ball. Against the Eagles, if you watch that game, which I watched the entire game, not one pass he threw was, except that interception actually was thrown to Hakeem Mostert's back shoulder, but because he was basically tackled in the end zone, he couldn't even get the ball. He actually got tackled, and then the big play Slade picked it off. Kudos to him for making the play, but the linebacker actually tackled Mostert into the end zone, and Waddle was in the same vicinity, which led big play Slade over there. And then Tua, off his back foot, threw up a back shoulder fade pass that got picked off. That's not an excuse. That's actually what happened. There was a 3rd and I think 15 play where, in the eyes of pressure, he threw a 35-yard dot to Cedric Wilson Jr. for the first down, and they was on, I think, their 10 at the time. From their 10 to the opponent's 35, that's almost like about 25 to 30 yards. He threw a line dot that went straight down to Cedric Wilson, who jumped up and catched it. As I think Bradbury was covering him, as he nearly fell. Wilson made the catch, kept his feet in bounds, and fell out of bounds. I think that completion was like 20-something yards for a first down. Then to Jay Waddle, who got knocked off his route, and Tua really got his first, second, and third read taken away. He managed to come back to the right side of the field to throw an absolute dart to Jalen Waddle, who was basically double covered, but it gave him enough of a window to put that ball into, so Waddle caught it and was able to, get his feet in bounds and go out of bounds after being tackled. He made some sharp throws in that game. The touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Carter was in his face when he let the ball go, and he still threw a dot. Now, we can go down the list of games that, people feel like he disappeared or whatever the case may be based on his number. The Eagles game was his lowest production at 216. Under no game this year has he thrown for under 200 yards at all. None of them. But this was his lowest because he threw 216. Now, even against the Patriots, he put up 200-plus yards. But with this game right here, people have literally tried to bury him, despite his statistical numbers still saying he's number one. And the biggest measuring stick game that he has coming up is against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm here to tell you, I really do believe that the Miami Dolphins are going to beat the Chiefs. If not for any reason, it's for this. Because for one, the Miami Dolphins need this game better than the Chiefs do. Everybody knows the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been a long-standing success organization for the last 5 or 6 years. They made 5 consecutive AFC Championship games, all in Kansas City. They made 3 out of 5 Super Bowls, and they won 2 of them. So, what would they need this game for? Other than to say, hey, we're going to host another AFC Championship game in Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. But if the Dolphins find a way to beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Frankfurt, Germany in 2 weeks, they have an opportunity to host and possibly play in the AFC Championship game as the number 1 seed, which means they'll get a bye week, they have a division round game, and then the very next game will be against whoever, more than likely probably be Kansas City, so it'll be a rematch of the regular season matchup, but this time they'll be coming with a brand new hunger to knock off Miami because they took the number 1 seed from them. So I really feel like the Dolphins and Tua are in a prime position. Sorry about that. To make a name for themselves, but I want Tua himself to play for his brothers like he's always been. But I really, really want the media to stop bashing this kid like he's just hot garbage. Because, prime example, Brock Purdy, without Deebo Samuel, looked average. He looked very, very average. Now, Tua's played without Waddle, and he still had Tyreek. Now, Tyreek is a definite explosive weapon, but Tyreek does not make up all of the offense. That means that Tua's been orchestrating to get everybody else involved outside of Tyreek. Yes, Tyreek is a dynamic weapon who any quarterback would love to have because he's going to take any pass you throw him and he's going to stretch that out to make it even a bigger game. But one of Tyreek's greatest things is he's unselfish. He's not worried about if he gets, 10, 11 catches a game. If he does, great. If he doesn't, hey, it's all good. As long as the team continue to win, he don't stress as much. But he's getting like 8 to 9 catches a game for almost 100-some yards per game. He just got locked out of this game to get 88 yards. He was 19 yards away from 100 yards. He did get a touchdown. And that's on the throw people want to show was that touchdown that Tua threw, which, as Skip said, he put his all into it. Which you watch the play, he clearly didn't. He flicked his wrist and the ball was gone. Or the way Tua threw it, he threw it in motion and then the ball was already up in the air pretty much. It was like a 27-yard touchdown pass. He threw it with little to no effort. And it went exactly where it was supposed to go, in the back of the end zone with Tyreek can run underneath the pass. And he did. But they really should start giving this kid his credit. Why can't he get his flowers now? Why is it that because he's having a successful season, people like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, all these other guys, Lamar Jackson, everybody else can seem to be praised and uplifted, but Tua has to have but he has help around him. But he has Tyreek Hill. It's more than just Tyreek Hill out there. Tyreek is nice, but one player don't stop no show. Kansas City proved that. They missed Tyreek, don't get me wrong, because now the offense of Kansas City look a lot different with just Kelsey out there by himself. It looks a lot different because you really can't name too many players offensively for Kansas City, which is why they don't put up many points. They put up, I think they put up 34 last week, I think it was, against the Chargers. But Patrick Mahomes threw for 400 yards, and it really didn't have a strong impact like it once did. So you can see their offense is struggling. But they still are winning games because their defense has turned up a notch, has become not elite, but they've become very, very good at what they do, which is try to create turnovers, get pressure on the quarterback, and get their offense easy, short fields to score on. But it doesn't change the narrative that, hey, their offense is looking bad without Eric Bieniemy, who's in Washington now. But that's another subject I'm digressing from again. At the end of the day, I mean, Tua is number one in passing yards. He's tied for number one, or I think he's second now with 15 touchdowns, tied with Mahomes. And I think he has like 6 picks, so 15 touchdowns, 6 picks, 2,092 yards. His QBR, I think, is second. His quarterback rating, I think, is first. His completion percentage, I think he's tied either second or third. So all his statistical numbers are up there. They're up there with the best of the best right now, and he's still getting shitted on. My whole thing is why? Like, why can't they just say, okay, Tua's playing great this year? For some reason, they only want to see him shine or do good against great competition, but then play down to the bad competition. That's backwards as hell. You should be consistent in how you play. And to me, he's done it. To me, he's played consistent. Whether the team was the Cleveland Browns or the Atlanta Falcons or soon to be the Kansas City Chiefs, he's played the same. But people don't give him that credit because then they look stupid. They say, oh, well, they gave up so many yards to Kansas City, or they gave up this, and this. Yeah, but did they win the game? Absolutely they did. And if he puts up 300 yards against the Pats and the Chiefs, what's going to be the argument then? Oh, well, Tyreek was out there helping him. Tyreek takes the pressure off, so all you going to do is find Tyreek and throw the ball up. Tyreek is not 6'3", he's 5'10", or 5'9". He's somewhere around that height, 5'10", 5'9", maybe 5'11". But he doesn't take all the pressure off. Tyreek is sometimes uses a decoy for everybody else to get open underneath. And Tua used that to his advantage, because if two people going to follow Tyreek down the field, well, guess what? That 25 to 30 yard spot is wide open for Waddle or what's his name? Braxton Berrios, or newly acquired Claypool to just run underneath there and be in position to catch the ball, because Tua going to release the ball before you got your break. So you're going to see the ball before the defender does. All you do is catch it and keep on turning your ass up the field, and you may get a 30, 40, 50 yard, scamper based on the way he puts the ball in your hands to keep moving. So give the kid his just dues. I mean, we don't know what next season gonna hold. We don't know if he's gonna get injured. We don't know all that. What we do know right now is that he's number one. We do know that. So why not give him what he deserves, which is the proper acknowledgement that he is currently the best statistical quarterback in the NFL. People don't like it, but it is what it is. They don't like it. Last season when he was 22nd, I think it was, they ain't even mention his name. He didn't even get a shout out. But now that he's number one, dead set on number one, now it's a problem. Or we got to tear him down because he's number one. What sense that make? What's that really going to get you? And then at the end of the day, nothing. So why even waste your time doing it? Oh, some people, I tell you. But guys, that is my time. I'm actually putting in the Sonic now. I'm gonna give me a little food here, but that's my time, guys. Tell me what you think. How do you feel about Tua's progression this year, where he stands statistically, and where you see his final numbers being at? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, thank you guys for watching my content. I appreciate it. I'll be putting out more videos as I go along. Peace.